Part 389. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3881. My lord, the divine ladder has not been brought back. Talha shrugged and said calmly. What? Didn't get it back? Then what are you doing back here? Ah. Trash. Everything is trash. Go away. Go away. What did I tell you before? You're talking nonsense with us here now. Damn thing. Hateful. Why don't you die? The roaring sound is endless, and the rhythm is completely stretched to the extreme at this moment. His thoughts collapsed in his heart, and his mentality also collapsed for a while. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, was about to slap Talha to death immediately. As long as this Talha speaks later, he will really be completely cold. Master City Lord. Although I didn't get back the divine ladder, I know a hope that will allow you to capture more divine ladders. Maybe taking advantage of this opportunity, we can control all the divine ladders. As soon as Talha said the words, Cassius's mind was caught in an instant, and a different kind of brilliance flashed in his eyes, and he became aroused immediately. Thoughts are flying, the rhythm is gradually obvious, and the will is crushed to the extreme. What? What's the meaning? Speak. Speak quickly. Asshole. Make it clear. Can I win more divine ladders? Is it a gimmick specially found out in order not to die? Do you think I will be deceived by you? Don't be too stupid. Your little thought, I know it all. If you want to escape in front of me, let me tell you, it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. The posture of gnashing teeth is fully displayed, so excited that the heart is surging in place. The eyes of Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, gradually turned blood red. The ghost knows what this divine ladder means to him. If it is possible to accumulate all the divine ladders, even the entire Tianlin City will be ruined. These are all external objects. Nothing. Things that make you feel irritated at a glance. In other words, these things are not worth looking at and thinking about at all. But the ladder is different. The ladder represents hope. The ladder represents faith. With the ladder, you can follow the full flying. How exciting is this? Immediately invincible. With the divine ladder, it is possible to create a divine path. When the road to becoming a god is created, I will be able to enter the realm of the gods that I am thinking about. Everything will be different then. I want to regain the glory of my ancestors. We are all descendants of the true God. We also have the opportunity to achieve the power of the true God. Whirring. As long as we don't give up hope, we will all be invincible at that time. Steady, must be steady. No chaos, absolutely no chaos. Once it's messed up, there's nothing left. That's it. The muttering sound followed, thoughts fluttered, and various thoughts in my mind became more and more. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, seemed to be having a nightmare at the moment. My lord, when I chased those foreigners under the city wall, I saw a phantom of a divine ladder appearing in the distance. That should be the place where the divine ladder appears again. It should be a brand new divine ladder. Perhaps the remaining divine ladders are hidden there. As long as we can snatch those divine ladders first, we will be developed. In addition, these foreigners have also seen the phantom of the divine ladder. They will definitely not give up this great opportunity, and they will definitely choose to go to that place then. At that time, we will be able to wipe them all out, and then we will also seize the sacred ladder they stole. When all these are in hand, if you want to build a road to become a god, my lord, it will no longer be a fantasy. When the time comes, we will have great hope. The key is whether we can seize this opportunity. Master City Master, shall we seize this golden opportunity? Talha asked directly. Certainly. Those who miss the opportunity are the real idiots. Opportunity. Good opportunity. Such a good opportunity, who would want to miss it? Good on. Use all the elites of Tianlin City and kill them. As long as I can get the 9-section divine ladder, I can become a god. As for the remaining ones, you don't need to care about them. It doesn't matter, these are all nonsense. Well. That's right. Collapse. Collapse mentally. Develop in an all-round way according to the established rhythm. A muttering sound followed, and at this moment, he narrowed his eyes, and the endless brilliance in the eyes flickered all over. The more you think about it, the more profound your feelings become, and everything goes without saying. Good. Very good. You are all wonderful. You are all meritorious ministers. Bring back this key information for the city lord. Ha ha ha. This is much more meaningful than taking back a divine ladder. That's the way to play. This opportunity cannot be missed. All the divine ladders are mine. The road to becoming a god, I must be the first to go. Shinayu, there must be a place for me. Wait, just wait and see. Who can really see the future clearly? Snort. Break out. Let's break. The sound of excitement is full, and the more you think about it, the more profound your feelings become. There are thousands of thoughts, messy consciousness, and the whole person is in a state of ecstasy. Very exciting, I really feel the excitement to the extreme right now. For a time, everything in front of him was completely burned. Such an idea, let alone tell anyone. Lord City Master, actually, there is still a problem now / Our Tianlin City is currently surrounded by Disha City and Huangji City. In this case, are we a little powerless? Small-scale elites can charge out, but if all our elites charge out, it will definitely arouse the vigilance of Disha City and Huangji City. And if we don't have soldiers and horses guarding Tianlin City at that time, we will really die. At that time, the entire Tianlin City will be completely destroyed. The group of people in Disha City and Huangji City are vicious. Talha groaned, then reminded. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, who was in a state of excitement, couldn't help frowning at this moment, his expression unpredictable. Needless to say, these are critical issues. If you don't deal with it well, there will indeed be problems. Asshole. Emperor City. Disha City. This group of idiots don't attack sooner or later, and they want to trouble me at this juncture. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 3882. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, looked extremely ugly. He even thought of some extremely extreme ideas. Otherwise, give up the entire Tianlin City. Let Tianlin City fend for itself. Look at their own lives. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, suddenly said this. Everyone. Really crazy. Let the whole city be buried with him. City Lord, think twice, City Lord. This is no small matter. This matter concerns my entire Tianlin City. This is the foundation you have accumulated for countless years. Master City Lord. Don't be careless. My lord, please take back your life. Immediately, the surrounding gods of Tianlin City couldn't sit still. At this moment, they all gathered together, and while they were talking, they couldn't help but show a nervous look on their faces. The thoughts are in place, and the consciousness is fully surging. In this way, it further highlights the most true thoughts in my heart. Seeing so many opponents, Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, couldn't help frowning. This matter can be big or small. It would seem a bit unnecessary if these gods would unite to suppress them because of this. There are too many things involved in this matter. This time the thoughts are in place, and the consciousness suddenly bursts into my mind. The more you think about it, the more relevant your feelings become. Everything goes without saying. Thoughts are slowly revealing themselves. After such thoughts are fully manifested, anyone who understands them will naturally understand. Is this the pattern for you? Don't you guys know the meaning of the divine ladder? Follow me. After you have accumulated enough divine ladders and paved the way to becoming a god in the true sense, you will all have the opportunity to follow me into the divine domain. In God's domain, what do we have? Why do you care about these things here at this time? Listen to my city, Lord. Do you have to know the layout? It's really a headache to be so stingy. Asshole. Asshole. The cold snorts gathered in full force, and the face of Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, gradually became ugly. His words were in place, and his eyes were full of murderous intent, as if he wanted to completely wipe out everything in front of him. Full of realism. The consciousness is fully in place, as if there is an extreme sense of oppression. The gods around looked at each other, looking a little confused for a while. What is the situation with the city lord? For this so-called divine ladder, he is now desperate at all costs. Crazy, this guy is absolutely crazy. The key is that this guy is still the lord of Tianlin City. Being crazy in this position, the one who suffers is naturally the entire Tianlin City. Now that Disha City and Huangji City's army is pressing down on the situation is already so tight, can't they relax a little bit? If you continue to be so rigorous, something will happen eventually. And it's a big deal when it comes out. For the illusory ladder, the entire Tianlin City was ruined, you know? No one jumped out of the cracks in the rocks, and each of them had a family. If they are god generals, their combat power is not bad, and the probability of rushing out is still very high, but after the city is broken, what about their family and friends? Do you want them to watch their wives being abused, their sons being beheaded, and their relatives and friends suffering misfortunes one by one? If you want to talk about guarding Tianlin City, you must define it without hesitation. After all, you are guarding your own homeland. Only by guarding Tianlin City, everyone, can you have a small home. This mentality and posture magazine is very real. Very real. But if they were asked to give up their families and homes for some messy divine ladder, would they be willing? Not much else to say. I must feel very distressed in my heart. Even if this is the threat of the city lord Cassius to them, it is useless. They looked at each other one by one, and what was on their minds was revealed invisibly. I understand everything. If you don't understand, there's nothing you can do about it. Rhythm is very obvious. Crazy will swirled in his mind. For these gods and generals of Tianlin City, they are like bastards eating weights now, they are determined. It can only be said that it is even more difficult to get them to change their minds. Even if you choose to rebel at this time, it doesn't matter, it's a big deal, it's a big deal, it's just a bloody battle to the end, it doesn't matter. Anyway, there are such extraordinarily crazy thoughts in this heart. Thoughts are in place, everything goes without saying. Even if Cassius is the lord of Tianlin City and in charge of the entire Tianlin City, he would still feel a headache if he was outraged by the public. What to do with this matter next, I have to come up with it. You can't directly work with these subordinates as the city lord. Not only is this irrational, it's also not very effective. Things have progressed to this point, and they must be stabilized. Thoughts are flying, and will is slowly expanding. If you feel so touched, tell someone more. Burst. Sprint. Collision. Then came another wave of intense tremors. Quiet. Be quiet. You all stop talking. Everyone is in a mess, how decent it is. Everything is not a foregone conclusion, what are you worried about? Snort. I think you guys are a little restless. Let me tell you, Don't play these tricksters in front of the city lord. It doesn't make any sense. The armies of Disha city and Huangji city are besieging our Tianlin city. At this time, the matter of the divine ladder is involved again. When there is a collision between the two, it is natural to make a break. But this city lord will never ruin the entire Tianlin city. The big deal is to give them those few god stone fragment mines. Humph. Isn't this group of bastards coming here for the god stone fragment mine and the spring of life? You really think I don't know? Under normal circumstances, they would definitely not give them any good looks. But right now, we can only stabilize our mentality. Don't be careless, let alone be careless. This matter must be completely collapsed. It's not a problem to choose to let go of some god stone fragment mines and life springs at this time. Moreover, the benefits that can be obtained through this method are really too many. When the time comes, it will surprise us infinitely. The sacred stone fragment mine and the spring of life can still be taken back, but the sacred ladder is the only one left. Besides, the god stone fragment mine and the spring of life were given to other members of my Protoss, and the meat was also rotten in my own home. But if those foreigners take away the divine ladder, the sacrifice would be too great. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3883. Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City, narrowed his eyes, and immediately said seductively from the side. Now that the words have come to this point, it is actually clear what I want to express. It's useless to talk too much, everyone understands. All kinds of rhythms are surging in an all-round way, and everything is self-evident. Since it is not enough to force these guys forcefully, then there is only another way to lure these people to work for him. From the perspective of Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City, it would be best if Tianlin City could be kept. After all, there are still his family members in Tianlin City. Based on this fact, there is no need to say more about the other ones, they understand everything, and the rhythm is very obvious. Who wouldn't like to sacrifice a little of the god stone fragment mine and the spring of life to gain such a reward? Who is not happy? Immediately, his whole body and mind fluttered, and the smile on his face was fully revealed. Excited heart, trembling hands, you can only know this extreme excitement if you have experienced it personally. This is feasible. Yeah, it seems that we wronged Lord City Lord before. The Lord City Lord has never had any intention of abandoning Tianlin City, it's just that we misunderstood the meaning of the Lord City Lord. If you just discard some foreign objects such as the God Stone Fragment Mine and the Spring of Life, I will definitely have no problem here. I promise. I can discard these things immediately. Honestly, in this regard, I really don't have a lot of ideas. Actually me too. After all, it is the order of the City Lord. We need to respect the opinion of the City Lord anyway. At the very least, we have to give the City Lord a face. So, just follow this plan, we all know it in our hearts. Well, in this way, it will naturally take off in an all-round way. I understand everything, that's all, don't pay too much attention to the rest. All kinds of murmurs can be heard all around, and while talking, the eyeballs have been flickering frantically. With thousands of thoughts and surging consciousness, the smile on the corner of his mouth flashed across the board. Cassius, the Lord of Tianlin City, couldn't help showing a smug expression. You guys still want to play with me? Snort. Don't you even look at how many caddies you have? How dare you play around here? Are you really not afraid of death if you do something like this? Kill you in minutes. Not much else to say, if you want to find death, it is actually very easy. It's fine to just kill him, and don't care about the rest. Go up and do it. Such thoughts are being crushed in an all-round way. The rhythm gradually became extremely surging. Get ready. When I finish the army of Disha City Huangji City, I will set off immediately, and then search for traces of the god ladder. Call. This time, the city lord leads the team himself. Then the 2 first-class gods in the city will follow. The others follow along. I don't believe it anymore. Under the strong oppression of this lineup, what else will happen? Damn. Damn. Really hateful. When the time comes, just crush it completely. No one can block the way of the city lord's ascension to God's realm. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, all kinds of thoughts in his heart burst out in full force. The more you think about it, all kinds of oppressive feelings are sweeping in place, as if everything in front of you is going to be completely silent and invisible. Such a heart, crazy to the extreme. Because of the appearance of the phantom of the ladder. The Protoss, the Temple of the Alliance of Light, and the Temple of Darkness all followed suit. Seems like they're all running for it. In their eyes, this matter is particularly important, and the endless brilliance in their eyes flickers, as if they want to completely crush everything into ashes. The sincere heart has collided to the extreme. The invincible consciousness is repeating the same mistakes virtually. Everyone feels that they will be the lucky one, and that they can take off in an all-round way. I feel that the divine ladder will be completely collected by myself, and then I will be able to create a path to become a god, and become a god along the way. Such thoughts and ideas seem very real, but it is unknown how many possibilities there are for practice. In this matter, it has always seemed very mysterious. Yuanqi Shencheng, the temporary residence of Guangming Academy. Whenever, why didn't you respond at all? Good guy, are you all so casual? Ah. Now I'm running around for the fragments of the God Stone. Why are you still silent? What are you thinking in your heart? Ah. Say something. Even if we don't need the fragments of the Divine Stone, we can still look for them. It is said that the fragments of the Divine Stone are now extremely expensive. If we can get it, we can definitely sell it. The board of directors will get rich directly. Hey. Such a good way to get rich is right in front of you, why don't you know how to cherish it? Really, I don't know what's going on in your brains. What a great opportunity. Grasp it, and you will be able to take off. While talking, Bai Piao couldn't help persuading him from the side. While speaking, his eyes flickered to the extreme, his body trembled slightly, that kind of excitement and urgency, let alone tell anyone. At the moment anyway, I feel extra exciting and real. Is there something urgent and normal in your mind? Zhentian is all these things. You're not bored. I'm tired of hearing it. Too noisy. Uncle G glared at Bai Piao, and then lashed out shamelessly. Bai Piao wriggled his lips, and at this moment, he naturally felt quite unhappy in his heart. Good guy, can you hit me so blindly? His self-esteem was blown to nothing. How can this work? Rhythmization must be followed by a comprehensive collapse. Master, you don't understand anything, so stop talking. Then tell me, is it right for us to stay here now? I have been staying in this ghost place, and there is nothing. People are all pretentious outside, we have to make a little noise. Otherwise, all the benefits will be taken away by others. Master. Bai Piao blinked, and while talking, she seemed even more restless now. Is this something you need to consider? Just take care of yourself. Just don't let your own 3-acre land collapse. All day long, I know what to say indiscriminately. Be safe. Stop. Look at Fang Fan, how can he appear so silent from the beginning to the end? Look at them, they are not nervous at all. Tell me about you, why are you so nervous? Taishaji waved his hand, and reprimanded him along the way. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 3884. Eccentric. Why? Eccentric home. I have never seen such a brazen person. Convinced. I am completely convinced. Fang Fan, in your eyes, farts are delicious. I am in front of you, that must be something that will be reprimanded. Speaking of which, can you not be so obvious about your partiality? Good guy, it's too shameless. On this matter, Bai Piao didn't know how many times he had complained, but it seemed that it was meaningless, and they didn't take Dolly at all. It's still a look of going its own way. From beginning to end, this posture is vividly displayed. Of course, there is no need to say more about the other ones, as they understand everything. If you don't understand, then there is really nothing you can do, just follow the complete extinction. This rhythm is under control, which is better than anything else. Apprentice. Although Bai Piao has never been very reliable, we still need to pay attention to what he said. This divine ladder is no small matter. How about I find a chance to find the divine ladder? We have to find out the news. Otherwise, this sacred ladder is very likely to be taken away by others. Teacher. You must be careful. Taishaji squinted his eyes, couldn't help taking a deep breath while speaking, his eyes flickered, everything was in silence. Such a state of mind, let alone tell anyone. At this moment, all kinds of thoughts are surging. Don't worry, I know what's in my heart. If this body could be found so easily, it wouldn't be left outside. Just wait for the news outside with peace of mind. At times like this, there's nothing to worry about. It's good to be calm mentally. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. Fighting for the ladder in the early stage must be a wave of blood and rain. The accident and impact this caused will never be laughed at. Therefore, it is more appropriate to be more stable. What's the point of tossing around in that utterly chaotic situation these days? In the end, it will only make yourself silent and unable to extricate yourself. Wait for news. Disciple, you have such a big heart. Hey. As a teacher, I have been extremely anxious for a long time. What if the divine ladder is there, and the first person to check it just takes away the body? Taishaji blinked, and then raised this possibility. Of course, the possibility he raised does exist, but there is no need to just worry about it. Everything is predestined. The first one to capture the divine ladder may not be able to hold the divine ladder in his hand. There is still a large degree of deviation between the two. There is still a magical ladder, but you can't hold it, what's the use? Shoot the top bird, and this kind of person will only become the target of a full-scale bombardment in the end. There is no need to follow this wave of muddy water. On the whole, it doesn't make much sense. Let's talk about it after everything is clear. We have plenty of opportunities. Fang Fan yawned, and while talking, his body shook slightly. At that moment, all kinds of drowsiness were sweeping in place, and his brain was buzzing and trembling immediately. I've been a little tired lately. Fang Fan lay on the armchair, bathed in the sun, looking quite chic for a while. I have to say that this feeling is particularly exciting. All kinds of turmoil in my heart swept across, and my whole body slowly became loose. Comfortable, it does feel extremely comfortable. Taishaji looked at his apprentice's indifferent face, and seemed a little helpless for a while. Today's young people are so casual, what can we do? Fang Fan lay on the armchair, his gaze casually swept around, and then a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. There are still many eyes around. Even more than before. Now it has a very strong celebrity effect. One by one, they all stared wide-eyed and then hid in the shadows, observing Qi Tian's many reactions. Fang Fan was very clear about the small thoughts of these people. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, his mind was full of thoughts, his consciousness was confused, and the corners of his mouth kept smiling. The feeling is in place, and I feel quite conscious. Teasing each other with this group of secret eyes can be regarded as bringing a little fluctuation to the boring life. Master, there are people from all sides here. Well. Anyway, it's very messy. The Temple of the Light Alliance, the Temple of Darkness, and the Neutral Camp all exist. Among them, the Temple of the Alliance of Light has the most spies. Master, it seems that many people in the Temple of the Alliance of Light want to harm you. Lena gradually revealed her figure from the shadows, and while talking, a smile gradually appeared on the corner of her mouth. Everything was kept silent. It feels a little bit like that. Thoughts are flying, and the rhythm is gradually becoming clearer. Interesting. It's no secret that Wang Tu wants to kill me. But relying on his own words, he shouldn't be able to come up with so many spies. In this way, the identities of these spies will be obvious. Hee, it's interesting. It seems that my previous intuition was indeed correct. The Pope really sees me as extremely unhappy. Even, still monitoring my every move. Hey. Is this a common problem of the high-ranking people in the Temple of the Alliance of Light? Always like to engage in these boring little actions. Do you feel comfortable like this? Just happy? I really can't understand what's going on in my mind. Fang Fan shrugged, smiled slightly, and then rubbed his head. The sarcasm on both sides was beyond words. The more you think about it, the deeper your feelings become. Master, why don't I go and kill all these spies? Otherwise, it's too annoying to keep hiding around. Lena blinked, and then said directly, her eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. Fang Fan. Need not. Keep them. It's not bad. Well. Just have fun. Otherwise, it would be quite boring. Fang Fan stretched, then said calmly. Hee. Since they want to see it, let them see it. Otherwise, they may not feel at ease themselves. Fang Fan stretched his waist, his thoughts fluttered, and everything was kept silent. Small problems are all small problems, and there is no need to pay too much attention and anxiety. The overall situation is relatively stable. Naturally, Fang Fan was not indifferent to the Phantom of the Divine Ladder and the Phantom of the Exquisite Palace. It's just that his focus is broader. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3885. Perhaps more people will pay more attention to the so-called Phantom of the Divine Ladder, but for Fang Fan, the exquisite Phantom of the Palace made entirely of divine stones is more attractive to him. If that thing really exists, from Fang Fan's point of view, he can completely abandon the Divine Ladder and get the exquisite Palace Phantom cast by this divine stone. The divine stone is the most important thing. For Fang Fan, whether the ladder is good or not is a small problem. These are not very meaningful to him. Of course, if you have a chance to grab it, you can naturally take it by the way. In fact, if you really created a path to become a god and came directly to the realm of the gods, wouldn't your strength still be the same? What are you doing in God's domain? Without enough strength as a capital, and without any big backing, went to God's domain to die. Fang Fan thought very clearly, this time the thoughts gathered in his heart, and everything was said without words. The more I think about it, the more relevant this feeling becomes. Rhythmic, basically stable. Next, just follow the established rhythm and develop. Only in this way can the surging and trembling power in the heart be revealed. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth rose slightly. He always felt that there was a good show to be watched. With so many forces competing together, one can imagine what it will turn into in the end. At that time, there will inevitably be a frenzied gathering of big killers. The forces of all parties are actually in full swing. It would be great if I could advance my legion one more time before coming here to compete for the Divine Ladder and Divine Stone Palace. Now I only have a quasi-semi-god destroyer Gatling army under my command. The rest are all at the peak of the holy state. Comparatively speaking, the strength of the Supreme Saint Realm Legion is just that, and the strength displayed has no advantage on the current battlefield. Dominance has died out across the board. In this situation, there are really some shifts that need to be made. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking secretly in his heart. His thoughts gradually fluttered, and the more he thought about it, the more appropriate his feelings became. It is more than words. According to the established rhythm, basically there is no problem. After waiting for a few days, news came one after another. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, summoned all the people, with a solemn look on his face. Almost figured out. The place where the Phantom of the Ladder is located is an exceptionally deep canyon. There are various monsters gathering around the canyon. It's basically cleared a way out now. It's just that I can't directly enter it yet. Over there is an extremely powerful restraining force. Even top powerhouses like the Pope of Light and the Pope of Darkness can hardly break this restriction. Shui Wanren groaned, and then gradually explained the news he was about to inquire about. What's the meaning? Why do I not quite understand? According to what you mean, don't we have a dead end? Isn't that hopeless? Then how can this go on? It's better to just give up hope. This ban cannot be broken even by the Pope. What can we do? After waiting for so long, you just waited for this news. Really are. What the hell? To be honest, I'm really disappointed. It's not interesting at all, it's nothing. A muttering voice followed, full of emotion. Uncle G rolled his eyes and said impatiently. Although the other people in Guangming Academy didn't have such a big reaction, they couldn't help showing disappointment on their faces. Just mess around and make it look like this? At first glance, there is basically no hope. Originally, I wanted to go to see the excitement. I'm not done yet. Why are you in a hurry? Hold on. Just hold on tight. It's not a big deal. Although the power of this restriction is very strong, I found that the power of this restriction has gradually faded. According to this fading speed, after about 10 days, this restriction can be broken. It's time to enter. At that time, the two popes may also choose to enter it. I mean, it's too dangerous to be in. Especially you, Fang Fan, I suspect that you will fight those popes to the end. If it really works, what else can I do? The situation is too complicated. Something will happen then. Your temper, I know too well. Why? The sound of emotion gathered in all directions. Shui Wanren couldn't help but rubbed his painful head while talking. From his point of view, it would be the safest if Fang Fan could choose to give up trying to seize some divine ladder or other treasure. This time can be different from the past. This time even the two popes, Dark and Bright, participated. Pope, that has always been the ceiling of combat power. But if something happens, it's really over. At this moment, these must be taken into consideration. Think too much. Deputy Palace Master, don't worry about this. I'm not a fool. If I'm in danger, don't I know how to avoid it? I know it's irresistible, but I still want to go there and die. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly. In this regard, he naturally has his own judgment. Also, if I encounter unavoidable danger, I can escape. I still have the last resort to protect myself. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, then said calmly. In this regard he has absolute confidence. Words have reached this point, so there is no need to say anything else. What should be, is what should be. Yes. You just eat radish salty and worry about it? My apprentice is invincible. Are you worried that this is a bit redundant? My apprentice is a man loved by the goddess of luck. With great luck, what can happen? Shut your crow's mouth. This time I will protect my apprentice in all directions. If something happens, I can still help to block it. Don't worry, as long as nothing happens to me, my apprentice will feel that he won't lose a single hair. Snort. Who wants to touch my apprentice? Then you have to ask me if I can agree. The cold snort was all in place, and while talking, there was a special kind of brilliance in his eyes, as if he wanted to destroy everything in front of him. Such a heart is breaking out little by little. There is an extremely strong sense of explosion right now. The excitement is boundless. What I want is this feeling. Invincible at the moment, let alone tell anyone. Grand Uncle G protects the calf, and has always been so direct. Life and death are bearish, just do it if you don't accept it. Where did so many bells and whistles come from? Don't care at all. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3886. Seeing Taishiji's reckless and impulsive appearance, Shui Wanren couldn't help feeling a headache. Oh shit. These two masters and apprentices really have the same personality. Calm down for a while, okay? If you continue to engage in these things, who is it for? Don't you have a splitting headache? This rhythm instantly loosened up, okay. The more I think about it, the more chaotic it becomes. Okay. You can shut up now. They're all talking about business. What are you messing around here? What's the matter with you here? You can calm down. Calm down a little bit, okay. Don't toss about these things. I saw you, I was really convinced. Who do you think you are? Yes, you have succeeded in enlightenment now, and your combat power has greatly increased, but so what? Have you beaten the Pope of Light or the Pope of Darkness? Ah! You can't beat anyone, why are you shouting about those who have nothing? What's the point of making this place buzzing and trembling? Calm down. Calm down properly. Please, don't make trouble. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, covered his head, and immediately looked hopeless. It's too hip. This crazy rhythm, what the hell is he trying to say? Shishi, wei wai, endless. Just want to follow the bullshit? Isn't it good to be quiet and quiet? If you have to mess around, it doesn't make sense at all. Shui Wanren, deputy head of the Guangming Academy, now sees Taishuji, and really feels like his brains have swollen to the extreme. Nothing. For it. Master, Deputy Palace Master, please stop arguing. Anyway, I'm definitely going. Of course, I didn't go for that divine ladder. I'm heading for the sacred stone. It's fine if they take their god ladder, I don't care at all. I plan to tear down the palace built by the sacred stone. It will be good to just recycle the god stone at that time. Wasn't there a phantom of the god stone that appeared together with the phantom of the god ladder? Just that thing, it's good to put it together when the time comes. Fang Fan shrugged and said calmly, his eyes could not help but flash a different kind of brilliance as he spoke. At this time, there is always a little bit of willpower. Overall, no problem. All kinds of rhythms are gradually becoming clearer to the extreme. Consciousness is also slowly expanding in place. This effect gradually spread. Really? Boy Fang Fan. I knew you were heading for that sacred stone palace. Tisk. It turns out that we all have the same vision. Not bad, really good. Speaking of which, I'm actually here for that too. Haha. When the time comes, let's take off together. Boy Fang Fan, this time we can cooperate again. When the sacred stone palace is demolished, the 1 million sacred stone fragments you said you owed me will be replaced. Hey. I won't charge you for interest or anything. Who made us brothers? But you have to give me the principal. In addition to this wave, there is still some harvest or something, and I will share some more. This time, I have millions of fragments of the divine stone in my hand. Get rich instantly. Bai Piao blinked, and when he spoke, his breathing became rapid, so that his heart was full of surging, and then he couldn't help swallowing saliva frantically. His thoughts were in place, and everything was silent. Exciting indeed. The ideal is beautiful, but the wish is very hip. My brain is still buzzing and trembling at this moment. Okay. For the time being, you can stop daydreaming. I still don't know what's going on, just shouting here. Is it exciting to yell and yell? Calm down. Stop everything for me. What does it look like now? It's all right, it's all in the eyes of money. It's as if my Guangming Academy owes you all a lot. Why are you all hungrier than beggars? Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, had a dark face and couldn't help complaining from the side. While speaking, I felt my brain tremble inexplicably, all kinds of thoughts gathered in my heart, and all kinds of thoughts gradually became chaotic. The more I think about it, the more I feel a splitting headache. The rhythm of this aspect has never been well controlled. There are still 10 days before the release of the so-called treasure where the confinement is located. These 10 days are destined to be restless. Even more people will rush to that place. Every eyeball is permeated with infinite essence. Who wouldn't want to be that lucky one? Was it possible to successfully seize the treasures and even the divine ladder of the supreme treasure in this relic of the gods? Of course, there are too many people who pay attention to existences like Shenty, and there is a high probability that they cannot be captured under normal circumstances. But are these problems? Basically, the problem is not big, everything is still in a restless stage. The overall situation can also follow the overall stability. Since there can be a magic ladder in that place, what about other treasures? Are the other babies gone? How can there be any fools in this society now? At this moment, the eyeballs are protruding, deep in the mind, this kind of feeling is fully oppressed. Excited, surging, and looking hot all over. Thousands of thoughts churning, everything is silent. At this time, it feels extremely exciting. This kind of stimulation will make people feel endless joy. Such thoughts, and who to say? The place where the divine ladder is located must be the place where the true God once stayed, so in a general sense, isn't that the relic of the God? Among the relics of the gods, maybe the divine ladder is just one of the more precious treasures. Treasures like this, and probably many, many more. Of course, it may not be as precious as the supreme treasure like the divine ladder, but for those cultivators in the Temple of the Light Alliance, the Temple of Darkness, and even the neutral camp, their eyes are emitting a different kind of brilliance at this moment. Excited heart, trembling hands, only by experiencing it personally can we know the endless fun. Stimulate. Feeling extremely excited for a while. Immediately began a swift and violent attack towards the front. After such thoughts erupted, naturally they rushed forward regardless. Such a treasure, as long as one can snatch one, there will be no regrets in this life. At that time, you will get infinite insights, and then break into the demigod realm. Even appreciate the essence of the pseudo-god realm. At that time, even if you can't make it to God's domain, you can crush all dissatisfaction in this big world. Everyone went crazy. Where are the Protoss? They have no reason not to follow up. Actually, what we need to pay attention to is the crisis brought by the Protoss. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3887. Fang Fan pondered, his eyes flickered slightly, his thoughts fluttered, and everything was kept silent. The more I think about it, the more relevant this feeling becomes. Rhythmic, gradually obvious to the extreme. For a moment, I felt extremely irritated. Protoss. This, seems to have not been detected yet. Isn't Tianlin City of the Protoss surrounded by Disha City and Huangji City? It was the information you brought back at that time. In this case, they shouldn't be able to fight back, right? This magical ladder, even if they know about it, they probably don't have the energy to fight for it, right? Shui Wanren groaned, then said subconsciously. The war between the Protoss has been going on for a long time. Actually, it's just for the battle of spirits or to compete for resources between each other. If the Lord of Tianlin City can give up some benefits, it is not impossible for Disha City Huangji City to withdraw troops. No one can say for sure about this kind of thing. At this time, I can only say that I have been gambling. It's good to win the bet, but if you lose the bet, you'll lose everything. According to how obsessed the Tianlin City Lord is with the Divine Ladder, once he knows the existence of the Divine Ladder, he will definitely spare no expense. At the moment, there are mainly two possibilities. Either the owner of Tianlin City got rid of the entanglement of Disha City in Huangji City, and came here single-handedly. Either the Lord of Tianlin City made this matter known to the public, and then all the people from Tianlin City, Huangji City, and Disha City came to seize the Divine Ladder. The former is okay, everything can still collapse. If it's the latter, it's a little dangerous. This Tianlin City, Disha City, and Huangji City are all the upper cities of the Protoss. These are extremely powerful existences. It is difficult for us to fight against a single Tianlin City. If the three cities come together, one can imagine the danger. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and couldn't help but take a deep breath while speaking. His eyes flickered endlessly, everything was in silence. With such a rhythm grasped in place, it is completely possible to stab in place in an all-round way according to the established path. With such a state of mind will be adjusted in place, and everything is self-evident. Interesting, very interesting indeed. I can't think about what you said. So, this situation is much more complicated. The risks brought by a little carelessness can be imagined. According to this line of thinking, we will definitely encounter the Protoss this time. The relationship between us and the Protoss is already in a state of irreconcilability. If the battle is in place, it must be life and death. In this way, the risk factor continues to increase. On the side, Shui Wanren couldn't help frowning while talking. The risk at this time can only be said to be very great. A little carelessness, the full plate is over. With such a rhythm, it will naturally collapse in an all-round way, and there must be no change in the slightest. Shui Wanren opened his mouth, and wanted to persuade Fang Fan to give up the treasure hunt. Fang Fan directly avoided Shui Wanren's gaze, and then stood aside calmly, with a faint smile on his face, saying everything without saying a word. The smile is in place, and what he wants to express is already very real. Everything is in place, and the rest is naturally not a big problem. I understand everything. Hey, I know you are restless. Now I can't control you anyway. Whatever you want, just do it. But remember one thing, in case of danger, life-saving is the most important thing. Others, don't care. Those are not important things. Do you know if you have a steel yard in your heart? But please, don't neglect this point. I'm still really afraid that you will kill them recklessly. That kind of crisis is not something we can afford. I said, can you understand? Especially those Protoss have always regarded you as a thorn in their flesh. On the battlefield against the god of war, you killed too many of them. And ransacked their city lord's treasury twice in a row, and now they have already remembered you. When they see you, they will even kill you directly regardless of everything. Also, you still have a section of the divine ladder. Although the existing evidence cannot prove that the divine ladder is on you, do you really think that the two popes are just for nothing? In fact, they all know it well. It's just that they dare not act casually in public. As far as the Pope of Light is concerned, he is afraid that he will be forced to pass, so you will directly serve in the Temple of Darkness. After all, the Pope of Darkness, Demon 2, threw an olive branch at you before. This matter should not be underestimated. If you're not careful, it's all over. This time the rhythm must be steady, steady. The voice of emotion gathered in all directions, and the eyes could not help but flash with a different kind of brilliance, as if he wanted to tear everything in front of him to the extreme when he spoke. With such a mood, everyone understands it. The thoughts were concentrated in the heart, and the sound of breathing gradually became rapid. Shui Wanren licked his lips, feeling that his throat was extremely dry at the moment. The reason why he said so much was mainly because he was worried about anxiety. This is no small matter. If something happens, it will be completely over. The current rhythm must completely collapse. In the depths of consciousness, such thoughts are silent. Actually, it may not be a good thing. If the Protoss Tianlin city comes in to disrupt the situation, the water will be even more turbid. I don't know that the success rate of fishing in troubled waters is higher. At that time, we can follow the show again. Fang Fan's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly. Do you kids still want to make a fuss by relying on the language barrier between the Protoss and us? Want to coax on both ends? I advise you bastard to quickly take this idea back. Actually, the Temple of the Alliance of Light has obtained some normal Protoss languages from the captured Protoss soldiers. At this moment they are in full control. Although there are still many loopholes in their speaking of the Protoss language, in another 10 or 8 days, they may be able to have a normal conversation with those Protoss people. When the time comes to go to the place where the relics of the gods are, the Pope of Light will definitely take them with him. At that time, your way of fooling around will not be effective. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, smiled wryly, and couldn't help shaking his head while talking. There are thousands of thoughts and confused consciousness. The more you think, the more complicated your feelings become. Difficult, too difficult. Now this rhythm can be called a mess. Not sure what to do next. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3888. Have you cracked the Protoss language? The speed is not bad. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows and said in surprise. But relatively speaking, it doesn't feel so strange. It's just a language barrier, not a species barrier. It is entirely possible for those Protoss captives to identify some objects, and then make a comprehensive record based on their pronunciation. As long as enough items are identified, bilingual interaction can be performed. Originally, according to Fang Fan's idea, it would take some time to complete this, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. If this is the case, for Fang Fan, he has lost some support. He originally planned to take advantage of this difference to make some changes. It's just that I didn't expect such a change to happen now. The situation is a bit unstable. There is always a solution to a problem. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, his mind was full of thoughts, and his consciousness gradually became messy in his mind. It's not a big deal. Just play by ear when the time comes. Such a big piece of fat is placed in front of me, why don't I eat it? This is naturally impossible. Who can stand this? Fang Fan raised his eyebrows slightly, and the corners of his mouth raised silently as he spoke. Just wait silently for a while now, As for what will happen in the future, it is actually still unknown. It's good to completely collapse in the mentality at the moment. Small problems, all small problems. If the Protoss really wants to participate, don't we have to fight these Protoss in front of this God's relic? What will it be like by then? Oh my God. When I think about it, it's really scary. Another big battle is coming. Good guy, can I not participate then? Hey, I don't think it's interesting, I don't want to participate. Bai Piao muttered, and couldn't help complaining from the side. Remember, danger and reward are always relatively uniform. It's not good for you to think like this. Without danger, where is the opportunity? Fang Fan shrugged his shoulders, his eyes flickered slightly, his thoughts expanded in an all-round way, and various thoughts became more and more numerous. Not much else to say, such a state of mind is gradually in place. What I want is this kind of feeling. It's pretty much all stable now. The smile on the corner of his mouth was fully revealed, and he seemed quite comfortable for a while. Bathed in the sun, Fang Fan felt that all the bones in his body were bursting little by little. Call. Rest, take a good rest. Too tired. It feels like my whole body is sore and limp. Fang Fan stretched his waist, and while speaking, his eyes slightly raised, his thoughts were full of thoughts, and everything was said without words. As for the so-called God's relic, Fang Fan really didn't bother to go if he hadn't fallen in love with the God's Stone Palace this time. But there is no way, there are indeed few God's Stone resources in all aspects. Promotion to the Legion, bidding for high-end cards, whatever, it seems to be okay. As long as you have enough divine stones, you can take off. Why? The most important thing now is that there is too much difference in the divine stone. If you can't stabilize this aspect, everything will be in vain. Fang Fan rubbed his head, which was slightly swollen and painful, his thoughts gradually fluttered, and the more he thought about it, the more appropriate this feeling became. Taking advantage of this free time, Fang Fan decided to spend some time with concubine Chu Sisi and the others. Recently, it's because I've been too busy. There are too many things that need to be touched every day. I was so busy every day that I didn't pay attention to many things. Fang Fan rubbed his swollen and aching head, then let out a mouthful of turbid air, his brain buzzing and trembling. There are more and more women around you now. I don't know when I will have to forget it. I'm different from my cousin. My cousin has a high level of cultivation and can still assist you. I have such a low level of cultivation and can't help you. The vicissitudes of life, I don't know when you will completely forget me as a person. Hey, in fact, I have already made preparations for this. Just thinking about it now, I still feel a little sad. Concubine Xiang pursed her lips, and while she was speaking, her eyes slightly moved upwards. The more she thought, the more she felt, and her complexion slowly collapsed. Why are you thinking so much all of a sudden? Stop thinking about it. Even if I go elsewhere, I will naturally take you with me. At that time, you can completely stay in my small world of Shushan Pavilion. Can't I come to you anytime and anywhere to spend a good night together? Fang Fan's eyes glanced at Xiangfei presumptuously, his thoughts were flying, his thoughts were concentrated, and the smile on his mouth was fully displayed. A few hours later, Fang Fan fell into a light sleep with his arms around concubine Xiang. A bit tired. Recently, my body has really been a little out of order. From time to time, I feel tired. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, his eyes flickered slightly, the corners of his mouth rose, his thoughts gradually became chaotic in his mind, and then he stretched his waist, his whole body became soft. This feeling is what I want. Moments of joy are always short-lived. Just watch, it's time to start again. The target is naturally the location of the so-called God's relic. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3889. The light camp, the dark camp, and the neutral camp all gather together. Including the bright Pope Yuan Hanlin and the dark Pope Motu, they all set their sights on this position at the moment. Thoughts fluttered to the extreme, and the state of the whole person seemed particularly pleasantly surprised. At this moment, all ideas are bursting out in full force. Fighting. Keep fighting. The cheerful rhythm is stabbing crazily ahead. As everyone knows, the road ahead to seize the treasure is very likely to be a deadly road. Everyone wants to have a treasure. However, the reason why treasures are not called treasures is that there are not many of them. What can such a small number of treasures do? In the end, aren't they still submerged in the tide of fighting? Then even the wave of resistance was difficult to appear, and then he fell into a state of death completely? That kind of feeling will only make you feel extra tingling. For a moment, my body and mind trembled, and I didn't know how to feel it. In silence, you will fall into extreme numbness. When you don't know what to say, everything will collapse. There are thousands of thoughts and confused consciousness. The more you think, the more profound your feelings become. It will be another bloody storm. I don't know what the fight will look like in the end. That's all I can do now. Let's see what it will look like in the end. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth were slightly raised, his eyes flickered silently, and he was thinking to himself, and his thoughts gradually fluttered in his mind. The rhythm gradually became clear, and the thoughts were concentrated in the heart, as if to completely wipe out everything in front of me. Excited heart, trembling hands, you can only know if you have felt it thoroughly. Leisurely, I don't know what to say. Even if it's a dead end, it's the path they chose. It is impossible for them to feel remorse until the moment before death. Nature is greedy. When they can't rationally see their own strength, they can only get into the set again and again after all, and then they are directly locked in. Why? I can only say that this is life. Just like those gamblers who are deeply involved in the gambling market, their eyeballs will always be so scarlet. When they lose impatiently, they want to wipe out everything in front of them. Their hearts have become extremely crazy to some extent. Crazy is synonymous with them. Madman. Such an existence may be a lunatic. It was rare for Taishaji to say some philosophical words. There seemed to be some melancholy in his eyes. It seems that there are many stories to express. But for a while, these words were blocked in his heart, and he couldn't speak them no matter what. Thousands of thoughts, confused consciousness, everything is silent. Once you have the feeling, you will naturally understand what you understand. Immerse yourself in it silently, and then you can feel the extreme surging feeling. Everyone gradually entered the canyon in front of them. Immediately, you can see a sky blue forbidden picture. In this sky blue still picture, lightning bolts are trembling crazily on it, giving people a sense of extreme visual stimulation. With a sweeping glance, his eyes flickered slightly, and then he couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva, and the whole person was deeply immersed in it and couldn't extricate himself. Numb. It's really numb right now. I wanted to say something, but felt that all the words were blocked in my heart, and I couldn't speak at all. Ah. Ah. I am going to kill you. Get out. Get out of here. No. Don't. Don't kill my son. You are my father-killing enemy. Bitch. You actually cuckolded me. Die. Suddenly, there were a lot of irritable shouts, and each of them seemed to have transformed into irritable old man in an instant. That gnashing of teeth was fully displayed, and the vicious look on his face gradually increased. Immediately, the panting sound was fully displayed, and the eyes gradually became extremely blood red. That kind of anxious mood is suppressed in the bottom of my heart, and I don't know how to vent it at the moment. The mind can't be steady, the rhythm is completely stretched. Thoughts were messy, lips pursed. That kind of extreme mood was numb in the bottom of my heart, and my eyes gradually became erratic. Thousands of thoughts, confused consciousness, everything is silent. What's wrong with these people? Are they all crazy? What's the situation? Good guy. Dare to say anything. Is it interesting to hold the knife and wave it blindly in the open space? What the hell are you thinking about? A bunch of lunatics. WTF. A muttering sound followed, Piao opened his mouth, and then said speechlessly. It looks like it's really gimmicky. The more I look at it, the more confused my thoughts become. This rhythm doesn't seem to be the case. What the hell is going on here? It's messed up, it's really messed up. Everything feels like a mess. This is a little psychedelic ability of this prohibition. Why? From such a distance, just by taking a look at it, those with low cultivation bases and unstable minds will have their moods completely collapsed. Here you can see the horror of it. This restriction is extraordinary. No matter what, you really have to stabilize your mentality. But don't slack off any longer. Otherwise, there will really be a big problem. It's messed up, all of these are messed up. The voice of emotion came, and Shui Wanren, the deputy head of Guangming Academy, shook his head and said. You all pay attention too. Generally speaking, the psychedelic effect of this prohibition is basically useless when you reach the Saint Venerable realm. But who can say for sure about this kind of thing? In case there are some accidents, maybe. So, at this time, we must be more vigilant. Once it's destroyed, there's nothing left. Mentally, calm down. Steady, must be steady. The weirdness of this God's relic is not limited to these. This is just the beginning. So you have to break your mind. There must be no slack in the slightest. Otherwise, something big will happen. Shui Wanren swept across the surrounding area, and then continued to be alert to everyone. Things have come to this point, stability is the only thing. Once it fails to stabilize, the overall situation will follow and collapse to the end. So, it doesn't make much sense. Boom. Bang bang bang. At this time, there was a sudden burst of vibration in the distance. I saw groups of Protoss troops in black armor marching towards this side. The Protoss army is coming. Everyone pay attention to safety. Get ready for battle. Damn. Why are these dogs here? Then how do we enter the relics of the gods to snatch treasures? Stop talking nonsense. Hold the battle line fast. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3890. All kinds of hurried shouts came from around, and everyone became anxious. At this moment, black lines flickered all over his forehead, and his breathing couldn't help but become rapid. His eyes flickered, his lips pursed, and the sense of panic and anxiety in his heart surged to the extreme. The current state of mind does seem to be a bit broken. One wave destroys everything. Originally, if the Protoss did not show up, it would be considered an internal struggle. Now that the Protoss people are here, the situation seems to be a lot more serious. On the one hand, this competitor has virtually increased a lot. There are not many treasures to be shared, who would want to? Looking at each other one by one, there is still some complaints in my heart. It's just that it's hard to express it directly at this time. Originally, they came here to win the treasure with great interest, but now, before they win the treasure, do they have to fight with these Protoss people? What the hell, if you fall into it, you still have to lose your life. Damn, if you think about it this way, you feel so wronged. What the hell didn't get anything, and everything collapsed. His thoughts were completely messed up, his rhythm was also stretched, and his thoughts exploded to the extreme. It was nothing, my thoughts collapsed in my heart, and I couldn't say anything if I wanted to say something. Your Excellency is the Lord Cassius of the Protostian city. It's a pleasure to meet you. The bright Pope Yuan Hanlin rushed over, and after he finished speaking, the translator next to him began to speak poor Protos. Although the translation is very poor, I can barely hear what it means. It's just that the accent always sounds so gimmicky. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched, and he almost couldn't laugh directly. This shit is too gimmicky, and the rhythms are completely out of order. Who are you? Dare to act presumptuously in front of the city lord. You aliens have invaded my god clan's territory. Kill without mercy. Kill you all, this divine ladder will be ours. Kill. 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 Cassius, the lord of Tianlin city, let out a cold snort, and then his murderous aura gathered all over his body, as if he wanted to completely kill everything in front of him. That kind of ultimate killing heart is gathered in place, and the murderous aura in the eyes is about to condense into substance. The feeling of the moment seems particularly real. It is more than words. The rhythm is extremely obvious. In the moment, directly invincible in the moment. Stab. Go ahead and do a full lunge. With such an idea, who can compare with it? Hee hee. The city lord is really anxious. Since I'm here, it represents my sincerity. Your Excellency has brought tens of thousands of soldiers and horses this time. Your Excellency, do you really think you can beat us? That's not necessarily true, is it? Some things, after all, we should be more cautious. Otherwise, there will be problems. If Lord Cassius wants to die with us, then you might as well just say so. To a certain extent, I can actually fulfill your little wish. Hee hee. It mainly depends on what you think, Your Excellency. If you want to court death, I will accompany you. The cold snorts gathered in all directions, and the eyes sparkled endlessly. While speaking, the aura of the whole body was crushed in an instant, the thoughts were surging, the thoughts were rushing, and the willpower seemed very crazy. Guangming Pope Yuan Hanlin properly demonstrated his cultivation and combat power, which can be regarded as expressing his desire to cooperate with him. Cassius, the lord of the Protostian city, had a slightly contemplative gaze, and his expression changed a little. At the same time, the figure of the Dark Pope Motu also appeared in front of the Light Pope Yuan Hanlin. Although the relationship between the Dark Pope and the Light Pope was not very good before, and they were even hostile all the year round. But at this moment, they are actually in a cooperative relationship with each other. After all, the Protoss is powerful, and they need a united front. Faced with the combined pressure of the Pope of Light and the Pope of Darkness, the face of Cassius, the lord of the Protostian city, completely changed. Big problem. And it's big. The situation also seemed a little uneasy. This is a little careless, and it will cause problems. If I face the last person alone, I still have some confidence in defeating him. But if you match these two, the possibility is not great. I didn't expect there to be a powerhouse in the demigod realm among this foreign race. Damn it! It seems that the previous information still missed too much. Huh. Now is not the time to complain, the key is what to do at this moment. You can't just stare blankly like this. No, this is absolutely not possible. Something has to be done. Initiate an attack directly and fight them bloody to the end. But it may not be possible to win. Even if we win, the elites under my command are probably all dead. Of course, if the death of these ants can exchange for me the god ladder and the road to becoming a god, I would be willing. It's just that this situation is really not that simple. At the moment, it's better to have a broken mind at the moment. In case I lose to these two guys and are jointly suppressed by them, it will be dangerous then. Everything stays on the line. Call. I want to save myself a way out. Anyway, I haven't seen the ladder yet. It's still too late to kill him after seeing the divine ladder. Well, that's right. If that's the case, why not start a wave of slowing down? The eyes of Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, couldn't help flickering all over the place. His thoughts fluttered to the extreme, and then he pretended to be indifferent and nodded. So, how do you show your sincerity? If you want a bloody battle to the end, I can accompany you. This kind of thing doesn't matter. Cassius, the lord of Tianlin City, showed a defiant attitude. They communicate very slowly at the moment. After all, the situation is a bit awkward, and the language between them cannot be communicated directly, and it needs to be done through a translator who picks their feet. So it is quite normal that there will be some omissions in the process of mutual progress. Formal development is like this, it is useless to say more. Since I said it was sincerity, it is naturally not a war. We want to ask City Lord Cassius to take action together to break the restriction at the entrance of the Relic of God. So, wouldn't it be better for us to enter the treasure hunt together? If there is any treasure in here, how about we grab it by our own abilities? If there is such a magical treasure as the divine ladder, it is even more necessary to unite and cooperate with each other. Bright Pope Yuan Hanlin narrowed his eyes, and immediately began to seduce.